Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a couple of weeks. I've been really busy on some personal stuff, but that's all taken care of now. So since our last video, Tottenham have been doing pretty badly. I'd say it's a pretty unfortunate situation how everyone seems to have turned on Ange Postecoglou, and I feel very sad about that, but I really don't know what the solution is. I think that, yes, no doubt that the board are to blame for some of this, but because nothing has changed. So we've had, I don't know, was it five managers in the last 11 years? So nobody really seems to stick it long term. And it's way easier to replace the manager and the coaching staff than it is to replace all the players. So I think that's what the problem is. Um, I feel like Ange's vision or Ange Ball is probably closer to the kind of attacking, interesting football that Tottenham usually likes to play. And so I personally am very pleased when I see it coming off when if it's successful. Like everyone else, I'm not pleased when it's not successful. So, but I think if we back the manager, eventually we should be able to come through. So, but on the other hand, that is why I no longer have the manager's name on a shirt. As you can see from this one is the last one that I will ever do, and I'll never put a manager's name on a shirt again because it's highly likely that they're going to leave. So, I haven't finished reading the Ange Ball book. I have been a bit disheartened, so I really do want to do that. And then the other topic is the Pochettino era continues with USMNT. So, yes, the games against Jamaica were a little bit more successful. So that's not a huge surprise, but I'm still kind of not happy at some of the players because they're just not good. And so I think casting a wider net to find some of those more players would be, a good solution for that. I was talking to a friend whose kid recently quit uh, soccer, football, because the tuition asked for so much money, and there's no guarantee of her ever progressing in the youth football system. And so I think that part of what the problem is the grassroots football in this country is just not made for the way that everyone else recruits youth football in other countries. In here, I think Zlatan also said something similar, that he was shocked when he tried to put his own kids in youth football or youth soccer at when he played for LA Galaxy, right? Isn't that right? He complained that it was so expensive and he couldn't believe that, youngsters who aren't even learning anything, they're not learning real skills. They're just being forced into playing full games. And so my friend also said something similar about that with his kid. And then she basically stopped going. So she stopped going because she wasn't getting anywhere, wasn't learning anything. And so I think that is contributing to the problem of not having good players on your full age squad. So there's that. Finally, I want to make a comment about male tennis players. So it's completely off topic, but it's just something that I want to say. So I am interested in tennis. I've always been wanting to play, but when I was in high school or school, I never got the right tuition. So I never had good tuition. Um, I guess my parents never paid for tuition. So, and I wasn't taught in school how to serve, how to hit, how to hold a racket, Western grip, continental grip. Like, I was never taught any of that stuff. And so then as an adult, I go to Lifetime Athletic here in Las Vegas, Green Valley rather. And there are tennis lessons available. You can also upgrade your membership to become a full tennis member, in which case tennis is free to you, but more or less all the time. So, but still taking lessons is expensive. And as an adult, you can take individual private lessons or you can take group lessons. So group lessons are a really good way to get tuition. So it's somewhere around $28 for an hour for a group with 4 or 5 other students and one instructor. So I started taking those lessons about like 2 years ago, and it would be like once or twice a week or something. So it wasn't terribly expensive, you know, less than $30 an hour for a group lesson. That is cheaper than personal training with like a trainer if you lift weights, right? So I was learning, and yeah, it's okay. I'm having fun. I can reasonably hit the ball. There's a couple of shots that I need coaching on, but I was learning, right? So then I started really getting into it, and I was thinking, yeah, this is not bad. I think part of the thing about tennis is it's very discouraging if you cannot return the ball over the net. So if you can't hit the ball over the net and into the court, you're gonna not want to play. If you can't even do that, that's the major turn-off of tennis. This is why pickleball has become so popular, because in pickleball, the ball is so light, the court is so small, you got a very, very high percentage probability you're going to return the ball over the net. That's why pickleball is played by older people, people who don't have such good mobility. Tennis is very hard and it needs strength, and you need to also be able to run. And singles tennis is even worse. That's why tennis players, professional tennis players, get paid so much, because it's a hard sport and it's very, very exclusive. You need to have access to the courts. Not everyone can do so. Public courts aren't maintained as well as private ones. Not everyone can afford the private ones. That's why people also claim that tennis is elitist. And in a way it is. You need to be a member of the All England Lawn Tennis Association in order to even set foot on Wimbledon. So that's why it's also got the air of snobbery about it. Anyway, so fast forward to me taking tennis lessons 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yeah, about 2 years ago. So I'm taking my group tennis lessons and I'm learning, and I'm returning the ball over the net. So 80% of the balls that I hit go over the net. So that is great. That means that is a great result in terms of confidence and skill building, right? So then they advertise a mixer, and they say, what's a mixer? Tennis mixer is where you can sign up and then you can meet other people from outside of your class to come and play. And then you play with other people of different abilities, right? So I go to sign up, and then the instructor goes, this mixer is not for you. I go, what do you mean by that? He goes, this is not your level. You don't want to come to this. And then I'm like really infuriated. So I'm like, oh, so he's doubting my ability. So I go, oh, I'll be the judge of that. So I sign up, right? So we go there, and then basically all the players' names are put into a hat, and then the people are the instructor. She's drawing the names and say, this person's going to be matched with this person, and then you play around. And then this person's matched with this person, you play around, and then they meet. And then so on and so on until there's like, so it's kind of like a mini tournament in a casual setting that's meant to be friendly. And then it turns out I get matched with a player who is what they call a sandbagger. So the guy shows up and he's wearing like a John McEnroe headband, like from the 80s. And he brings a wooden racket out of his bag. And then he goes, oh, I'm really not a good tennis player. And I go, well, that's okay, because I'm just learning as well. I'm in group lessons. So he starts playing, and then he just served me off the court. I can't return one single shot. And then he didn't use his wooden tennis racket. He had like a modern, up-to-date racket. And then he was just pretending with his goofy clothes and his goofy approach to be someone that he's not. So basically he was doing, ha ha, fooled you. I'm actually a really good tennis player and I'm going to serve you off the court and you're not going to return one single shot. Why would you do that? Why would you put someone through that? So at the end of 6 games, so I lose 6 games in a row, I don't get one single shot back. And then I say, hey, I'm leaving. I'm not playing with you. It's pointless me being here. I've just wasted $30 or whatever, because you're not even being a sportsman about it. Right. So the guy's like, oh, don't leave. I'm like, I'm leaving because I don't want to play with you. You're a bad sport. So I leave, right? And then they see me leaving and no one even stops me. No one even stops me to say, why are you leaving? And then subsequently in the weeks afterwards, no one says to me, when will he come back? Because I'm still a member of the gym, so I still go to classes, right? But they just don't go to their classes. So in the intervening time, I start to learn pickleball, and that's just a way friendlier, easier way to play, and I get a lot more out of it. And there are a lot more free events, and there are a lot more people who are less aggressive and more welcoming. So I've embraced pickleball like a lot. And so a couple of weeks ago, I saw a new instructor has started at the gym, and then he's trying to advertise group lessons for adult beginners again. I go, so he comes up to me and he goes, are you interested in lessons? And I told him the whole story about how I was taking lessons, and then now I'm not taking lessons because of this terrible experience that I had. Oh, no, we're going to start all over again. We're going to have like new classes. It's going to be a new way forward. Everybody's going to be on the same level, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So there are 4 free sessions. And I go, of course you're going to offer 4 free sessions, because then after that you're going to get people reeled in and then you're going to start making them pay. Of course, right? So yeah, so I take some of the free lessons, and then I meet one player, female player, who's about the same level as me, but she's left-handed, but she can hit more or less pretty good shots. I would say same as me, 85% of the time they go in. So she and I are on the same level. So I said, hey, if you want to practice anytime outside of the lessons, then let's do that, because I live pretty close to the gym, so I can be here most times, so not problem. Anyway, I skipped for a couple of weeks because I had some other stuff going on, and then meanwhile he's texting me, hey, do you want to come back to the class? Oh yeah, I'll come when I'm available. So Sunday I went to a class, and then he said, oh, your friend that you were playing with, she can't make it today, but I've got these other people, and 2 of them are dudes and there's 1 lady. So the 2 dudes proceed to hit the ball at 120% of strength. Why you do that? So what's happening is, when you hit it at 120% of strength, your shots, 90% of your shots are going way outside the court. They're not even bouncing in the court. They're going up, they're hitting the wall, they're hitting the ceiling, they're just going out. So you're wasting everyone's time by hitting it so strong that no one can possibly return any of your shots. Why would you do this, right? And second of all, you're making play dangerous because you're hitting it at an uncontrolled rate. And so this is the thing that I found with dudes who experience midlife crisis. So let's say they couldn't afford a Porsche when they were in their 20s, and then now they're 50, 60 years old, and they can buy a Porsche, and they drive it at such a high rate that it's uncontrollable, and then they take it into a wall and die. Same thing with 50-year-old motorcyclists. 50-year-old motorcyclists, they want to recapture the youth that they had. They couldn't afford that Ducati when they were 21 years old or whatever, and then they go and buy a super, 1500 cc's motorcycle that they can't control and they take it into a wall and die. Same thing here. Couldn't afford tennis lessons when you were a kid, never got picked in high school, but now you're 35 to 55 years old and you can afford a super expensive tennis racket. Good for you. So you go and buy your super expensive tennis racket and you hit the ball at 120% of strength just to show what a big man you are. Congratulations. You're not only injuring people, putting other people at risk, you're turning people off. No one wants to play with you. You're a bad sport. And that is the reason I will never play tennis with a man again. And I don't care who they are. They think they're Carlos Alcaraz or something. Or they say, oh, you know, like I've got the same tennis racket as Rafa Nadal. You know what? Rafa started when he was a kid. You didn't. And now you come to this lesson, you hit the ball 120%. I mean, I had to call out the dude. And I said, you're supposed to hit this at 40% of strength. 40%, dude. And like he pretended he couldn't hear me. And I'm just like, I just walked out that class because I got hit again, another mild concussion or whatever. I mean, I could have had a detached retina, but they don't care. They just want to carry on doing it. I will never go to a class again with a male player because they don't know what they're doing and they could potentially hurt someone. The same thing is true in pickup football. If you play with some 50-year-old dude and then they do a slide tackle on you on bloody AstroTurf that actually hurts when you fall down because it's not real grass. You could injure someone really bad. And all they want to do is pretend that they're Roy Keane or someone because they've seen it on TV. Or they'll poke you in the ribs. And then you've got to go to hospital or something. Why would you do this? So the element of sports and fair play is no longer existing in this realm or sphere. So anyway, that's my rant over. I will never play with a male player again because they are, on the whole, bad sports. And I think what we need to get back to is being a good sport. That's my rant for the day. Take care of yourselves. I hope to see you soon.